Before we begin tonight's meeting, as I say, we do have a number of folks that we want to recognize, and so if someone besides you wants to get up with a camera and take a photo, appreciate you letting them come through so they can capture a beautiful moment. Also, to our board members here, after last month's meeting, we did have a couple of comments from folks that are watching on YouTube, and that they had trouble hearing some board members. So when you speak, if you will speak directly into the microphone so that the folks online can make out plainly what's being said. Okay? If there's nothing else to then, this meeting of the McDowell County Board of Education, our regular May meeting, will come to order. And the first item of business would be the approval of this evening's agenda. And all members have had an opportunity to peruse that. So what is the pleasure of the board this evening?
So move to make the motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Frank makes the motion and Ms. Moomaw makes the second. Is there any discussion to the motion? None. All in favor, right hand. And the motion carries unanimously. This portion of the meeting, we usually try to take just a moment or two and bow our heads and still ourselves before we get into the evening. I'd also like to ask you, as you sit in silence, that you remember one of our own school family, Ms. Angela Wilkerson, principal at Marion Elementary School, struggling with some health issues. So if you will then, let's oblige one another. Thank you all so very much. Next item on our agenda this evening is the presentation of the flag and the pledge. And Chief McClure, would you care to kindly introduce our color guard this evening?
Tonight we have Cadet Wyatt, individual for the color guard, followed with Cadet Heffley, Cadet Ball, Rifle, Cadet Hammonds, carrying the organizational flag, which is the state flag.
Okay. All right then. And Chief, would you care to lead us in our pledge at the appropriate time?
Absolutely.
All right.
Please stand, ready, off the color.
Color guard. Attention. Carry. Colors. Ready. Cut. Forward. March. Color guard. Halt. Right. Face. Present. Colors.
Ready, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry. Colors. Ready. Cut. Left. Face. Forward. March. Color guard. Halt. Right. Face. Post the colors. Left. Face. Forward. March.
And you may be seated. Thank you. Next on the agenda for this evening's meeting is administrative reports, and I'm going to ask Mr. Brian Oliver, our interim superintendent, if he would lead that portion of our meeting.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, members of the board, honored guests, school leaders, and honored guests, our students. They're going to be recognized. Thank you for being here. So we had lots of things happen between our last meeting and tonight. We had our leadership team meeting at Marion Elementary School. Had our first construction meeting for the McDowell High School athletics upgrades, which includes the tennis courts and the synthetic turf practice field. Attended the Joint Utility Committee meeting with the city and the county leaders. Met with Dr. Bryant Lindsay, who was representing the Overmountain Victory North Carolina State Trail Association. He also represents the Friends of Lake James and Fonta Flora. Lots of exciting things going on with all the trails in McDowell County. I'm sure you've been reading about that, but some really good things happening with the trails. Had the opportunity to attend the Joint Education Committee meeting with the county leaders and the community college president and a couple of their board members. I was able to attend virtually the Low Wealth Consortium update, and a lot happening with that statewide. Ms. Smith attended the quarterly board assistant training, and I think from what she shared, it was a great experience, and she will definitely attend each of those that she has the ability to do. We had our elementary and secondary allotment meetings with all of our principals. Very worthwhile time with each principal talking about staffing needs for the future. All the third graders in the county had a chance to visit different offices within the city government, and that was a great day for them. It's called the Civic Day with the city of Marion. We thank the city of Marion for their support of our third graders and their great partnership with our school district. I had a great meeting with Chief Lawrence of Marion PD, pretty much the same meeting that I had with Sheriff Buchanan the month before, and we continue to talk about school safety issues and SRO issues, and those gentlemen we couldn't be better represented with those two gentlemen, and also Chief Lytle and Old Fort, and we thank them for their support. I had the opportunity to attend the MAI and MEC prom, and it was up on top of Burkmont Mountain. What a beautiful setting. That was a beautiful evening. So thanks for inviting me to your prom, MAI and MEC. I attended the funeral service for Beth Crawford, who is the daughter of Dr. Sharon Crawford, who was former superintendent here. And it was a beautiful service. We had our bus driver appreciation dinner last Monday, and that was a really nice event. It's always nice to recognize our bus drivers. We'd love to have more. If anyone out there is interested in driving a bus, we'd love to have you. We're working on it, but we'd love to have more. Had the chance last week to meet with the West and the Northwest regional coordinators from DPI, and they're extremely complimentary of McDowell County Schools. We have a good partnership with each of those organizations, the West and the Northwest RESA. And if you work at Old Fort, you know that they like to use our facility for training that includes both RESAs. So they are very happy with the opportunity to visit at Old Fort. We had our Teacher Advisory Council meeting last week, and what a great group. Our Teachers of the Year from this past year make up the Teacher Advisory Council, and they're just a wonderful group to work with, and very positive. It's easy to see why they were the Teachers of the Year for their schools for last year. So very proud to be able to meet with them. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association had its annual meeting last week, and that was virtual again, but a good meeting. They elected new officers and talked about things to come with high school athletics. It's always an interesting topic. So much happening with athletics statewide. And then a finance update. Ms. Rampy and I had the opportunity to meet with the county manager and the chief finance officer for the county last week, and had a great meeting. And we did get some good news from the state last week regarding low wealth. And I'm going to let Ms. Rampy speak to that, if you don't mind.
I'll just stand up here in this space. Just a quick update. The state had given us a preliminary number, I don't know if you guys remember from budget work session, a reduction of $650,000 is what we were expecting, and they did update that with some new economic data for us, and we are now expecting a decrease of $240,000, so about a $400,000 difference. That's a big change and positive.
That was good news. Thank you, Ms. Rampy.
Mr. Oliver, may I say something about the third grade
Yes,
Civic
ma'am.
Day? Because you and your cabinet do not brag on yourselves, but I did have a little bird tell me when she brought her class back from the West Marion trip, the cabinet that's sitting over there, I want to, on behalf of myself and the rest of the board that has no idea what I'm getting ready to say, thank you guys for being there and serving them lunch. It did not go unnoticed that you were there and that you were making sure that those third graders' lunches were given to them. And a lot of times people don't see what y'all do behind the scenes. And so I thought that it would be a good opportunity just to thank you for what you do and for being there for those kids and for their teachers. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. And I didn't help a whole lot. I watched people help, and they did a great job. But I was there. But thank you all for your effort that day, for sure. And our third graders looked great, and they were very well behaved. So good job. Okay.
All right. The next two items on our agenda are, as I said earlier, are one of the things that are the greatest pleasure of serving on the Board of Education. And the next item is student recognitions, and immediately following that will be staff recognitions. And it just makes us swell up and with pride when we stop for a moment or two and realize what great students we have in our system here, and also what a dedicated and wonderful staff we have that helps these students achieve their great potential. And so, Mr. Oliver, you're going to kind of help shepherd folks through this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I will. I wanted to make one announcement, though, before we start. So the second group that is listed, the scholarship winners from McDowell High School, they have another event this evening. They will be arriving shortly, so once they get here, we'll recognize them, but they will not be in order as listed. They won't be second. They'll be later on. Just want to make sure you knew that. So we will get started with our elementary science fair winners from Old Fort Elementary.
All right.
Come on up.
This is not like
If I can get past all these certificates here, we'll be okay. All right.
I know, I love the jacket. I wish I could take credit for this, but we have amazing students at our school, and we have amazing staff. And so I would like to recognize Benita Mercurio. She is the science teacher at Old Fort, and she is the person that has encouraged these students. She did all the paperwork for them. She traveled with them. And so I'm going to let her give you an idea of what has transpired. But our students have made us very proud in the state of North Carolina. They went to the North. We had our own science fair. And this is, students can choose to be in the science fair. It's not something that we require. And so we have a judging, and we had 3 students whose projects went to the Northwest region, which is hosted by Appalachian State University. And all 3 of those students placed, and they represented us in Raleigh at the North Carolina STEM and Technology Fair, hosted by NC State. But I'm going to let Benita tell you a little bit, and then our guys can tell you about their projects.
All right.
I think Mrs. Ward did an awesome job summarizing it. These three students, well, one is not here today, Lily Pittman, had a project called Make the Wind Work for Me, and she built and tested different wind turbines. And Josie Bearden, who is here today, had a project where she tested whether grass or turf would make her soccer ball go further. And she loves soccer, and so it was inspired by that. And then we had Maddox Alexander, who did a project on mousetrap cars, and he is quite the little engineer. So we are very proud of them at Old Fort Elementary School, and you should be proud of them at McDowell County. And I just want to thank you for acknowledging them and recognizing them, and also thank their families who supported them through this.
All right.
So Maddox Alexander.
Maddox, are you going to talk to us?
You want to tell them about your project? They love to talk about their project.
Yes.
So my project was called Mousetrap Cars, and what I did was I built 3 different mousetrap cars, each with different lengths of the arms. Then I tested to see which one went the farthest.
Nice. This is Josie Bearden.
My project was called Get a Kick Out of This, and what I did was I had a ramp and I rolled a soccer ball on turf and grass, and I wanted to see which one would make a soccer ball roll farther on.
Very good.
So Mr. Silas, if you ever need anyone to consult with, just be your.
That's what I was going to say, Josie. What was your findings? What did you find out?
Turf made the ball roll much farther.
Ah.
And I need your resume from your parents.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
That's awesome.
So next up, we'll have our Science Olympiad winners from McDowell High School.
Yay. It's okay. It's okay. Nice.
Hi, I'm Miss Weaver, and then the other 2 coaches, come on up, Miss Fowler and Miss Pedler. We have an awesome team. Some of our Science Olympiad students are seniors, so we'll be losing Anna and Kaya. But we do have a really young, great team. Let's see. We had, and it sounds like from the last group, we have some future Science Olympiad people too. So we're excited. Future winners. But like Jacob at the end, he is quite the engineer. He likes to create, and then he wants to test it and test it and test it and test it again. He's got that engineer mind. And then Anna's been involved in almost everything from cell biology and anatomy. And then we have Meredith, her sister, and they're a great team. So it's going to be kind of sad breaking them apart. And then Kaya's our bridge. I mean, she knows how to do a bridge and a boom lever. And what was the other one? A tower. So anything you want to know about bridge, Kaya's great at it. So it's going to be really hard to lose these students, but they did a really great job. But and there was 8 winners, but we only had 4. Some of them had to work, and then some of them had some commitments at the high school today. So.
Okay, so tell me the 4 who are here.
Okay, so we have Kaya Jackson.
Okay.
And she placed in forensics and bridge. Forensics and bridge.
Nice. Come on up. Congratulations.
And then Meredith Carroll, who placed in dynamic planets.
I'm Meredith.
There we go.
And then Anna Carroll, that also placed in Dynamic Planet. Yeah. And then Jacob Watkins. And then Jacob in Bridge. Yeah. There's the difference. Oh, wow. Good. Sure. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Lots of incredible science students there. So the future for science instruction and science practice is bright for McDowell County Schools. Next up will be our CTE Skills USA competition winners. And Ms. Finley, will you come forward, please? I'm just going to pull these out.
I've asked Mr. Berryhill to play a quick slideshow so that you could see our students at the competition. The Skills USA competition was held in Greensboro, April the 18th through the 20th. And students competed at the Curry Convention Center and at the Greensboro Coliseum. And this is the largest CT competition that is held, with over 2,100 students competing, with over 120 hands-on trade, technical, and leadership contests. So this is our law and justice students competing. Nice. This is our EMT students on stage.
Oh, that is so awesome.
More pictures of our law and students winning. Our EMT students. This is our graphic design students.
Oh, that's great.
We also had students that competed in masonry, welding, and firefighting. Those students did not place, but did an amazing job as well. So I wanted to show them. All right, that should be it. So first I want to recognize our graphic design students. And I've asked Mr. Minish to come forth and let you see their projects, because this is what is amazing.
Oh my goodness.
So both, we have two students that, one that participated in the pen design and one that participated in the t-shirt design. And these two are the most popular graphic design contest. And there's a lot of extra work that goes into this. Not only do they have to go to the competition, but the students had to come up with their own design. They had to create a presentation along with a portfolio containing information about the process. And then on the day of competition, have a tabletop display that had to meet strict guidelines and be eye-catching and creative, so you can definitely see why they placed. So first I want to recognize Emerson Presley. She competed. Emerson competed in the pen competition, and this is her design.
Oh, it's lovely.
Good afternoon. So like she said, I competed in the pin competition. I placed third in North Carolina. And I just want to let you guys know that I use multiple softwares to actually design this. And the bird in the NC part of that is actually all hand drawn. on a iPad and then converted over to Adobe Illustrator, and then I actually designed out that entire display right there, and I cut it out in the school's Glowforge and placed with it. So
That's great.
Next, I want to recognize Michaela Jones. She competed in the T-shirt design competition and placed second in the state. And she had a lot. And as you can see, her tabletop display, she did an amazing job. Had a lighthouse that actually had a little LED light on. So great setup for both of these students.
Nice.
I also want to recognize Mr. Wesley Minish. He is their teacher. He's also a first-year teacher and has put a lot of work into it. Okay. All right, so next I will recognize our EMT students. These students had to interview with 2 medical directors, take a written test, and perform in a medical and a trauma scenario. So place in third place is Miss Peyton Teague and Autumn Sloan. Second place, Miss Talma Parker and Miss Cheyenne Kelly. Come on,
I think this program makes McDowell County who it is. I've had many of siblings that went through this program, and they are who they are today. Not only does it make students a whole career in front of them, but you also have a whole support team. Barry, Autry, even though you might not have a Marsh, you might not have them as their class or as your class, each and every one of them, they take you as their own, and I appreciate that because you have somebody even when it might feel like you don't sometimes. But in McDowell County, that's something you can say is you always have somebody there, and I appreciate that.
And then our first place winners are Emma O'Neill and Eden Bird.
I think I can figure it out. All right, Emma. Congratulations. You like steak? Please do.
First of all, I want to thank Chief Barry McPeter Sr. He is very, very involved with us in this program. We do a lot of hands-on. And like Telma said, we have one of the best support systems. Barry, Marsh, Autry, even though you might not be in their class, like Telma said, they support you. And if you want to do something in this school or in this county, they support you with it. And next, I want to thank Eden because couldn't have won first place without being a team and just working together. At times it was difficult and stressed out, Against all odds, me and Eden pulled it off, and I'm really proud of both of us, and I'm really, really grateful for this program and Barry McPeters.
We'll give you a moment.
All right. The one thing I'm going to say is I'm going to thank this woman right here. We had time to thank them, so I'm going to have to thank her because if it wasn't for her, none of this would happen. She's the one that does all the hard work behind the scenes. It's not much seen, if you want me to be honest with you, so I just want to take time to say thank you.
Oh, and Mr. McPeters, will you come up? I also want to point out that this is Chief McPeter's 7th consecutive year of winning first place Also, if you will remember, Autumn and Cheyenne won first place last year. Cheyenne's sister has competed, Telma's brother has competed, so it's gotten to be a huge family, and we're proud of that fact. So next, I will recognize criminal justice. The criminal justice competition consisted of a traffic stop with an arrest and search, a call for service, a professional interview, a resume submission, written knowledge exam, and then a police writing report. So again, our students swept the podium. So placing fourth was Ms. Shelby Hensley. Third place, Mr. Jaden Gage. Second place is Mr. Jared Helms, but Jared had to go home sick today, so he could not be with us. And our first place winner is Miss Kalani Herrera.
I just want to thank Mr. Marsh. His support for us. I mean, he took us in as his kids, you know. So thank you for everything you do.
I'd also like to point out that these criminal justice students worked the case at teen court before they came tonight, so we appreciate that. And then if Mr. Marsh will come up, this is his 6th consecutive year of winning first place at state competition.
Yes, sir.
So our first place winners will now go to the National Skills USA Championship, which will be held in Atlanta, Georgia, June the 19th through the 23rd. And there will be over 6,000 students there competing. So we're very proud of our students. Good job. And the teachers who make it all possible. Yeah, we're sure.
That's beautiful. That's really neat.
Congratulations to all of you.
I love it. Yeah, you lost us. Like when you started explaining, we were all going.
Sounds very technical.
It sounded very technical. You did very well.
Thank you.
Okay, so our scholarship award winners from McDowell High School have arrived from their previous engagement. And so we will now take time to recognize some very smart students. So, Ms. Bennett.
Thank you. Thank you. So before I begin with our scholarship recipients, I want to thank 2 ladies who have worked with these students till countless hours of the night. Sometimes I call one of them and she's there at 10 o'clock at night working with students, trying to help them with their essays. She helps with their college applications, scholarships, and financial aid. Miss Brenda Valdez, she is our and Miss Pat Gross. Miss Pat Gross. Miss Pat Gross. Our first group of scholarship recipients are our Good Night Scholars. The Good Night Scholarship Program at North Carolina State University supports students majoring in STEM or STEM education. The scholarship is valued at $22,000 and is renewable for up to 4 years. This year, McDowell High School has 6 finalists, which is, and I will say it, one more finalist than the School of Science and Math had. So way to go. Way to go. Out of those 6 finalists, 4 were awarded the Goodnight Scholarship for the 2023-2024 school year. It's Aiden Carpenter. Anna Carroll. Gannon Malumbi. And Avery Taylor. And I'm going to ask Avery to stay right here. Okay. So Avery is also McDowell County's first recipient of the Levine Scholarship. This 4-year scholarship includes full tuition, room and board, a grant to implement a service project of the scholar's own design, and 4 summers of experiences that will develop leadership skills, social awareness, and an international perspective. The total value of this 4-year package is estimated at $105,000 for in-state recipients. Woo! And finally, we have 6 students who are recipient of the Hagen Scholarship, which is double the number of recipients we had last year. The Hagen Scholarship is a nationwide merit scholarship that provides students with the opportunity to graduate from college debt-free. Recipients graduating college while in the Hagen Scholarship Program can also apply for the Hagen Graduate Scholarship, which is good for up to 4 additional consecutive semesters to attend graduate school. After graduation from college and fulfillment of all recipient responsibilities, all gains in the HSF account up to $10,000 will be deposited in the recipient's personal account. The total value of this scholarship is estimated to be $109,000. Woo! Our Hagen recipients are Anna Carroll. She is going to North Carolina State, NC State. Yay! Daisy Comer, who's going to go to Appalachian State. Addison Cunningham is on her way to UNC Chapel Hill. Gannon Malumbi will also attend NC State. Selena Vargas Bucio is heading to UNC Charlotte. And Piper West will attend Appalachian State. All right, ready, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Miss Rose, get up there. Get up there. Great job and congratulations to each of you.
Yeah, all of those scholarship awards demonstrate or exemplify a ton of hard work by some really hardworking students, but they also reflect on hard work by faculty and staff who have worked with these students since kindergarten, and some of them since pre-K. And so next we're going to recognize some of our outstanding teachers in McDowell County Schools. And when students have results like the results you've heard tonight, with all the different award winners and scholarships, there are great teachers behind the scenes working with those students every day and helping them to achieve their very best. So at this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Dowdle. She's going to come up and recognize some of our wonderful teachers.
Yes, sir. Mr. English, Mr. Olivers, and members of the Board of Education, I am honored this evening to get to recognize the outstanding efforts of 34 of McDowell County Schools teachers. Each year, the state of North Carolina recognizes teachers in grades 3 through 8 whose students' growth are in the top 25% of the state and or top 25% of our LEA as measured by EVOS. These teachers receive a bonus or bonuses based on this growth. Many of our teachers this evening have received multiple bonuses. We will start with our third grade teachers who qualified to receive the third grade bonus. So when I call your name, if you'll come up. Miss Gabrielle Lancaster. Ms. Lancaster received the top 25% in the state and the top 25% in our LEA. Miss Jessica Ross, who also was in the top 25% of the state and 25% of the LEA. Miss Jennifer Sloan, who was in the top 25% of the state and also top 25% of our LEA. Miss Amanda Spivey, who was also the top 25% of the state and top 25% of our LEA. Miss Dana Yelton, top 25% of the state and top 25% of the LEA. Michelle Smith, top 25% of the state and top 25% of our LEA. Miss Michelle Baxley, top 25% of the state. Melanie Hamilton, top 25% of the state. Michelle Thompson, top 25% of the state. And Wendy Davis, top 25% of the state.
Third grade.
Let's give our third grade. The next group is the following teachers have received bonuses for fourth grade. In fourth grade, you can receive a bonus in reading and math. Since there is not, in third grade, it is only reading. So we're going to go ahead and begin with fourth grade. We have Miss Kim Hodge, who received the top 25 in the state, 25% in our LEA for reading, and also top 25% of the state in math. Next is Miss Stephanie Mull, who received reading, top 25% in the state, top 25% of our LEA, and top 25% in the state and LEA for reading and math. We have Miss Ashley Carswell, who received both in reading and math, top 25% in the state and top 25% in our LEA.
Wow.
We have Miss Jessica Capps, who received the top 25% in the state and LEA in reading. Miss Jennifer Blake receiving top 25% in the state and LEA for reading. Miss Taylor Stouffer, who received both reading and math top 25% in the state and in our LEA. Miss Caitlin Robinson, both 25% in the state in reading and both 25% in the state and 25% in our LEA for math. Miss Allison Rideout, top 25% of the state in reading. And then Miss Paige Gomez, top 25% of the state in math. Let's give all of our last year's fourth grade teachers a big round of applause. Excuse me, how could I forget Miss Martha Bragg in top 25% of the state and LEA for math. Miss Bragg, you know I love you very, very much. And I would never leave you out. So let's do this again. Let's give these fourth grade teachers last year a big round of applause. Thank you. Now moving on to our fifth grade teachers. It takes a village. We'd like to recognize Miss Barbara Dyer for the top 25% in the state and top 25% of the LEA in reading. She's not here tonight. Landon Brindle, top 25% of the state and top 25% of the LEA in reading. Miss Heather Anderson, top 25% of the state and top 25% of the LEA in reading. Miss Cheryl Mulvey, top 25% in reading, top 25% and top 25% in the state and LEA for math. Miss Kendra Hughes, top 25% in the state and top 25% in the LEA in math. Miss Tammy Dayton, top 25% in the state and top 25% in our LEA for math. And Miss Jennifer Carroll, top 25% in the state and top 25% of the LEA in math. Let's give all of our last year's fifth grade teachers a big round of applause. Congratulations. Thank you. For sixth grade, we have Miss Alicia Burnett for both the top 25% in the state and top 25% in the LEA for math. And Miss Lauren Rudisil, top 25% in the state for math. Let's give our sixth grade teachers a big round of applause. For our seventh grade teachers, We have Miss Allison Stiles, who received top 25% in the state and top 25% in the LEA for math. And then Miss Candace Hyatt for top 25% in our LEA. They are not here, but we can give both of them another round of applause. All right, for our 8th grade teachers, Miss Lori Petit, both 25% in the state and 25% within our LEA. Miss Amber Lawing, top 25% in the LEA and top 25% in the state. And Miss Mary Ann Basney, top 25% of the state and top 25% in our LEA for math. Let's give Miss Petit one big round of applause. There you go. Very quickly, when we're talking about growth, we are looking at students' growth from the end of one year to the end of another year. So when we are talking about that growth, that is not only compared to students within our district, but that is compared to students within our state. I want you to understand what a huge accomplishment this is for our teachers to be in their growth of their students, to be in the top 25% of our state and then within our LEA. This is hard work, and then probably every single one of these teachers would sit up here and tell you that they owe it all to their students. And yes, their students have worked hard, but they have worked hard because they have models and leaders that have led them to do so, and that is found in each and one of these teachers that were recognized this evening. So I say this often, and I say it with sincerity. Great things happen every single day within the walls of our building. They happen with our students, and they happen with our teachers. I'm honored to get to work with them and a school system that puts students first and values what students have to offer. So one last congratulations to all of our teachers. Job well done.
Thank you, Ms. Dowdle. Great job, and great job to all of our teachers who were recognized. I just want to echo, anytime you're recognized as being not only top 25% of your district, but in the top 25% in the state, that's a great accomplishment. And we're extremely proud of everyone who has worked hard. All right. Next, we will hear from, pardon me? So next we will hear from Ms. Lindsay Sipe, who is here. And she is from DPI, Department of Public Instruction. And she's going to recognize two more of our outstanding educators here at McDowell County Schools. Ms. Sipe.
Good evening, everybody. I'm excited to be here and continue the train of greatness that you all have going on in McDowell County Schools. Good evening, Superintendent Oliver, Board Chair English, Vice Chair Muma, and board members. My name is Lindsay Sipe, and I'm the Southwest Regional Consultant for Digital Teaching and Learning for North Carolina Department of Instruction. And I also have the great pleasure of leading the grant work that happens with the legislative funds that are given for our digital learning initiative. And that is $1.2 million reoccurring dollars that are given through our legislators each year. In March of 2022, McDowell County applied for and submitted an Emerging Technologies grant, and that was Renita Crawley and Eve Walker. 20 other PSUs across the state of North Carolina also applied for an Emerging Technologies grant. And the intention of our RFP is to provide additional funds for really cutting edge or innovative practices that are happening out in public school units that districts may not have the extra funds to give. McDowell County Schools was awarded $47,816 from our DLI grant this year. And they were one of 8 public schools across the state of North Carolina to receive those funds. So let's give them a round of applause. Woo! Their grant, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the grant. Their grant was written to give additional supplies and extend their full steam ahead van so that they could continue to train all elementary STEM teachers and middle school STEM teachers as well. And they work to lead the STEM teachers, and those STEM teachers also train the teachers, and they train the teachers in the use of all the materials that are in that van as well. And I just want to highlight a little bit of amazing work that's happening here in McDowell. Renata has offered professional development in class VR, which are those VR headsets that you see the kids wearing, where it feels like they're really in whatever situation the VR headsets puts them in. So it might feel like they're underwater or they're on a roller coaster, and it actually feels like you're on a roller coaster. I get a little sick when I have a VR headset on. They have also, I'm very excited to say, they've also had the opportunity to share their greatness, the McDowell County Schools' greatness across the state as well. So they went on the road and they presented at the AIM conference, which is North Carolina Department of Public Instruction's conference that we host annually as well as the Borough's Welcome Conference. And due to some professional development restraints that we have seen across the state of North Carolina with additional PD that has been mandated, they're going to continue pushing PD well into next year as well, which speaks very highly of the work that the two of them are doing. Eve has worked very hard to order and find new cutting edge things to put in the STEM van, including science kits, drones for students to use, iPad, Ozobots, and those are for all K-8 students in McDowell County Schools. And the Emerging Technologies Grant paid for all of that. So before closing, I just want to take the opportunity to thank both of them for their tireless work and dedication, not only to make sure that this grant is upheld with such diligence, but also the impact that you're making within McDowell County Schools as well. So if y'all wouldn't mind coming up and let's give them another round of applause.
Yeah, we're really excited. So, like she said, we're going to be pushing this into the next year. And then this summer, we're also going to be working with Shakespeare and Summer Bridge.
Renata, would you stand at the mic?
Yeah.
Some of us old folks don't hear well.
Sorry, I just said we were going to continue the work. And this summer, we'll also be using some of the technology that we got this year and received with our STEM Bridge, Summer Bridge students at middle school. So I'm excited about that. And then we'll continue to work with elementary. We were able to train middle school, some elementary, but next year, hopefully we'll get to all of them, and then everybody will be able to use the VR goggles and the rest of the technology.
And we took, I think, 11, Tammy gave one of them. We took 11 elementary and middle school STEM teachers to Sensitize this year, and they thoroughly enjoyed that, learned a lot of new technology there, so that was part of their grant too. So.
Nice.
Outstanding.
Good job.
Thank you two ladies for all your hard
Thank
work.
you.
We're going to hear from another outstanding teacher. Ms. Kelly Phillips is the teacher representative of the board and currently serving as our teacher of the year for another month.
For how long?
For another month.
It's coming close to the end. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So.
Okay.
Good afternoon, good evening now. Thank you so much for the time. As Mr. English has already said, it was a year ago, according to my Facebook feed, May 6th, that I found out I was the district teacher of the year, and it has been a true honor to be able to get up here and speak. I think my public speaking skills have been put to the test because, as all of you have heard every month, it scares me and terrifies me to death. But in just a few short months, there's going to actually probably sometime in the next week or two, we're going to have another amazing teacher who's going to stand up here and take our place. And I would like to just acknowledge them tonight because we don't know who it's going to be, but I have some good friends on this list. So from Eastfield Global Magnet School, Tiffany Barker is our Teacher of the Year. From East Middle School, Marianne Basney. From Foothills Community Schools, Sandra Gunter. Glenwood Elementary School, Tina Flynn. From MAI, we have Amy Hall. From MEC, Josh Peterson. Interesting fact I found on Facebook, his wife is the district teacher, I think, in Burke County. I saw it on Facebook. So that's pretty cool that they are both the same year. Wendy Davis from Marion Elementary. From the high school, we have Holly Keller. From McDowell Virtual Academy, James Thompson. From North Cove Elementary School, Monica Ray. From Nebo Elementary School, Leslie Hughes. Old Fort Elementary School, Jessica Major. From Pleasant Gardens, Donna Pyatt. From West Middle School, Susan Higdon. And West McDowell, and then West Marion Elementary, Mary Schumann. So one of those fabulous educators is going to be standing in front of you very soon. And as much as I'm going to miss this, I know they're going to do a great job. But some highlights from the last month. There's been, as you can see, obviously in the month of April and in the spring, it is extremely busy within our school system. Lots of amazing things going on. One of my all-time favorite things that just happened was kindergarten registration. So all of our new lovely little students, we say that they're new, but they're not because now we have universal pre-K, so they just get to come up to what we call big kids school. But I know we had a pretty big number at PG. We had 45. I know some of the other schools were not quite as big, but I'm always excited about kindergarten registration. It's an amazing event. Another special things that have been happening, my baby is graduating this week, so we've been full of lots of activities with early college and MAI, and they have hosted their first awards banquet. I know they've done things different in the past, but I just want to give a shout out to MEC and MAI. The banquet that they had for parents and families was amazing, and the food that my kids informed me, it was Miss Bernice from the cafe at early college, and that food was great. And we get to have another dinner tomorrow night, so that'll be great. Every elementary school has hosted family engagements. We had a Earth Day event at our school. I know there is a penny war going on at Nebo. Tons and tons of outdoor events that are getting our families in. And this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, so I wanted to take just a minute to speak on the importance and to thank our teachers in our county, because everything that you saw happen here is because these students have support from teachers. So on Teacher Appreciation Week, I'd like to reflect just a moment on what teaching is. Teaching is a commitment to instill knowledge in the minds and hearts of all students. It is so much more than just a job. It requires a love of humanity, a belief in the human spirit, a dedication to excellence, and a resolve to make a difference in the lives of others. It is the foundation upon which all forms of progress are based. Those who are destined to teach spend their lifetime investing in the dreams of their students, and in so doing, their own dream invariably becomes true. To enlighten, to awaken, to inspire all of those whose lives they touch, this is their dream. I began this year when I stood in front of you way back in maybe August, talking about the relationships and partnerships that exist with the McDowell County Schools. And this week, on Teacher Appreciation Week, I would like to take a few minutes just to say thank you to all the teachers and the support staff in our district. I've worked alongside these amazing people for almost 19 years now, and I have to say that we are blessed with the absolute very best. I continue to stand in awe of my colleagues and the great things that they do each day. I do not at all feel deserving to be the one sharing in front of you each month, but I am honored to do so. As teachers, we reflect on our practice and the impact we make, and I know that for me, the way that I reflect is by asking myself, am I being the kind of teacher that I want my personal children to have? Every child deserves the best education possible, and it's up to us as educators, as well as our community stakeholders, to provide that. As educators, we cannot do the job of educating the whole child alone. We must partner with the parents and the members of our community so that we can provide the best possible for our children. Ultimately, the purpose of schools is to help promote students who are capable of entering into society as independent, well-rounded individuals. These individuals need not only be productive, but they need to be able to think and create for themselves, and you can see that we have some amazing kids that are going to take that on. We are responsible for this next generation. We need to do everything possible to ensure that these individuals are the best that they can possibly be. As an educator, one does not get to choose which students are going to be placed in their class. Each child comes into the classroom with so many different backgrounds and experiences, and no matter what those backgrounds may be, educators must find a way to build relationships with the students as well as their families. It's going to take a community to ensure that a child is ready for life beyond the classroom. You see, this task that we as educators have is not a simple one. In fact, many people are going to say it's impossible to accomplish, but I want to say it's not. The most basic thing that we need to give our students is love. We're going to do our best to provide the educational material each day. That's just what teachers do. But before we can even begin to do this, we must get to know the students. If a child feels loved and respected, the learning will come. Children and adults alike can tell if someone likes them or if someone is just tolerating them. How sad for a child to feel like they are unloved. Some do face this, and it's sad, but oh, the difference that we as teachers can make. The love that we show may be the only thing that makes a difference to a child. I have found over the years that sometimes the child who seems the most difficult to love is the one who needs it most. We may not be able to reach every single academic goal with every child, but we can be sure to fill our classrooms with love and kindness so that every child feels safe and wants to come to school. Our classrooms might be that only safe haven for many. If a person feels threatened, whether a child or adult, they're not going to want to be in our classroom, and they're not going to want to be around you. They're not going to want to learn from you. I think we realize that our reach goes beyond our classroom walls. The things that we teach in our classrooms, they're being shared around the dinner table. They're being shared on the ball field, and they're being shared in today's society on social media. Imagine the impact that we make as educators. Being a teacher is not for the faint of heart. The challenges and demands that a teacher faces on a daily basis are trying and overwhelming. What other profession asks you to be a nurse, a security officer, a data manager, a social worker, a counselor, a janitor, and many times a mom or a dad? There are so many hats a teacher wears, yet we still come back every day and give the best we have to our students. There is a saying that I've heard over and over, and I do not agree with it. Those who do, do, and those who can't, teach. I want to challenge this thought by saying those who do are only able to do because of those who teach. What a huge impact we make. A teacher may be the single most influential person in a student's life. So as I wrap up my year as McDowell County Schools Teacher of the Year, I want to encourage all the teachers that I'm so blessed to work with to continue to show up every day. Keep doing what you're doing because you are making a difference. Thank you for loving, serving, and leading the way in our community.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Next, item 9 on the agenda this evening is a presentation on the AIG program update. Mr. Spivey, you're going to lead that?
Mr. English, while he's walking up too, this may be Kelly's last time, I think, with us, and I know your mom and dad's in the audience. So I'd like to recognize them because they have raised one heck of a daughter there and a special person. So if we can give you a round of applause and tell you thank you for what you've done.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. English, members of the board, Mr. Oliver, guests. I think every person this year that has had the chance to speak behind Ms. Phillips talks about how tough it is, and it's an honor to get to speak to you tonight, but after Ms. Phillips speaks, it makes it a little bit more challenging. I'm pleased to be here tonight to share with you the good news and the hard work that the Advanced Learning and Talent Development Specialists have been working on this year. As you know, we shared our 3-year plan with you last spring, which you approved, and we've been working that plan this entire year. We received some feedback from NCDPI on our plan, and they made a few suggestions to us, and we took the opportunity to incorporate those within our plan. It was not required that we do that, but anytime we receive feedback, we want to incorporate that and make our plan better. And so we're just going to take just a couple of minutes each to talk about several adjustments that we made to our plan. And we'll start with Ms. Young.
Hi there. That's okay. So in the feedback that we received from the state, one of the things they asked us to clarify was our identification procedure, specifically at the K2 level. We have previously identified from grade 3 on. We are going to extend our placement pathways that are in place for grades 3 through 12 now to include our K1-2 students. So specifically what that means is we are going to use multiple criteria, including classroom observations by the teacher and, of course, the specialist, Classroom performance. We have access to a nationally normed achievement test called the Iowa that we can adjust for whatever grade level that we need it. And then we have a cognitive abilities test, which is an aptitude screener called the COGAT. So once all of those measures have been collected, we do meet as a team. When we place anyone into the AIG program, it is a team decision which uses principals, school counselors, classroom teachers, and then one of the specialists. So in response to the state, we're extending those pathways that are in place for 312 to include now K2. So this will be for K12 identification.
Okay.
The second area that DPI asked us to kind of look at was our program matching. And that's under standard 2A in our plan. In our previously, before ALTDS, or Altoids as we call ourselves, once students were identified, much of our programming was the same for all of our AIG students. Elementary school students received pull-out services where lessons were based on AIG teacher interest and focus, and secondary students were really on consultative basis. And we have drastically kind of changed that since coming into our roles. DPI has asked us to be even more specific with our programming based on student identification and need. Therefore, we've adjusted our plan and our services to complement individual student needs. What that means is, for example, if you have a student that places academic reading into our program, then in elementary school, the ALTDS team will ensure that reading rigor and acceleration is provided through classroom teachers and in classroom activities and lessons. Once they get to the secondary level, we would like to have students that are gifted in reading would then be encouraged to accept the challenges of honors, CCP, and AP coursework within their reading strength. So our change is to be more specific with our program matching, and it will evaluate student differences and let us respond to individual student academic needs to embolden them to explore their academic talents and their academic strengths.
Thanks, Nikki.
Hi, my name's Carrie Franklin, and I'm going off script. They don't know I'm saying this, but this was my first year in this role. I came out of the classroom after 20 years at Glenwood in the same classroom for 20 years, never left. So this was a very big change for me, and these three ladies and Mr. Spivey have been so helpful and encouraging to me, and they truly have a passion for this and for working with our gifted students. So I just want to give them a big thank you for being so good to me and helping me get adjusted. Mine is not speaking about a change, but just about our elementary services that we provide. Our elementary curriculum support is through weekly PLCs and through our grade level meetings with teachers to determine student need and provide differentiated lessons, activities, and strategies. The support is offered and matched to their area of giftedness, as Nikki has stated. The elementary curriculum direct and indirect support is offered in the following ways based on individual student need. So that could be a push into the regular classroom, some pull-outs, offering one-on-one consultative support and supporting teachers through PLCs. We also offer talent development for students who are not placed but have shown the need for critical thinking based upon data.
Thanks, Carrie.
Hi, and for our secondary services, they're really tailored to the student. ALTDS, that's us. We serve in a check-in mode with our students in the secondary level. We offer advisory and choice in academics and teaching students how to advocate for themselves as they go through their middle school to high school years. We provide information for summer opportunities and opportunities to volunteer and just to help them build a resume, because that's really important. You can talk to Ms. Gross and Ms. Valdez about the importance of building a good solid resume. Our office also provides support for teachers within their classrooms with specific lessons if they so need them, with project-based learning, curriculum, and other supports based on student need. We host meetings for parents as well as students. Our office works closely with Governor's School, and we are working to increase McDowell County's presence at Governor's School. We also work with our gifted and advanced learning specialists in Raleigh and other regional specialists. This year, we were asked to address DPI's Portrait of a Graduate. You all have heard about that. And Avery Taylor, who was just here earlier, was selected to represent McDowell County in that role as Portrait of a Graduate, and her write-up is on the McDowell County, the McDowell High School page, and it's a beautiful write-up. So just take a look at that. In order to promote equity and access, all of the information that we provide to our students is found on our webpage under curriculum and instruction. Everything is there for any parent, any teacher, any student. So we just want to make sure that that is out there. We are intentional with our ways that we support, encourage, and advocate for McDowell County students.
All right.
Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you for allowing us to come here tonight and give you an update on what we've been working on. I'm so proud of the work that the ladies have done. My job is super easy. They're amazing. I just sit back and watch them go, and they take care of everything. I do have some sad news. Miss Carrie Franklin, as you already know, I'm sure, will be leaving the AIG ranks, and she is working for the McDowell County NCDPI Early Literacy Specialist next year and moving forward. And so it's a job that I think is truly meant for Carrie. I could not think of any other person I'd rather see do this job. And while we will miss her, we look forward to supporting her in that role in the future. Thank you very much.
I would like to say as you're walking out, I got to learn to speak faster. Like I've had something to say with every group, and I got to work on my timing, because do not leave until I'm finished. I remember, I guess it was a couple of years ago when we first, we got with y'all and talked about our AIG program when Ms. Pupo and Mr. Suttles and myself first came on the board. And just to tell you that those were some hard conversations that we had as a board. But I want to tell you that I appreciate so much you listening to some of the suggestions and the questions that we had. And I'm just really proud of the work that I see in our schools. And, I kept hearing over and over and over, and this is a constant theme in this system, is you're doing what's based on student needs. And that cannot be reiterated enough. Just to continue to see the professionalism and what happens every day in every classroom by an amazing team of people. That just like Ms. Phillips said, that just continue to show up despite some things that all of the extra stuff. So I do thank you for that. I thank you for answering the call. It wasn't necessarily a call that was pleasant at first, but I thank you so much for just letting us work together to do what's best for our kids. And tonight has been a wonderful showing of what happens when we as a school system and as a community work together for what's best for our kids.
I'll say the same thing to her. My stories always are baseball or something, but when I first started scouting, I met a scout for George Steinbrenner, who was 98 years old. And the Yankees, everybody knows the Yankees, had taken a huge decline. And so what they did, they fired all the scouts. And so everyone was upset. And so they just put some new ones into place, and they went to this guy, George did, and said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Well, you got a good group there." And then they started winning World Series. And I think that's exactly what we got. When I look at your faces, you got a good group there. And so I know success is going to be there. Carrie, congratulations too. I'm going to miss you. Now you have to trade or for her replacement. So don't let down the good group. All right, so get a good replacement. Okay, all right.
She's still here. Carrie stay with us. She's just going to be in a DPI role here in McDowell.
So we don't have to replace her on this group.
Well, that's to be discussed.
Oh, okay. So look for a good replacement then. Thank you.
We'll move on then with the meeting this evening. Our next item, number 10, is correspondence. And Ms. Smith, is there any correspondence for the board? No correspondence this evening. Moving on to item 11, requests to address the board public comment. We do have two folks that have asked to address the board this evening. First is Ms. Lisa Burleson Moore, and she's speaking on behalf of herself and Natalie Morgan regarding discipline in our schools. And the second request is from Mr. Gary Stroud, who wants to speak to us on behalf of the McDowell Technical Community College Board of Trustees regarding Senate Bill 692 that's under consideration in Raleigh. So would the board be agreeable to hear these folks in public comment?
Make a motion that we agree and we will listen to them.
Okay.
A second.
Mr. Frank makes the motion to hear these folks in public comment, and Ms. Mumal makes a second to that motion. Is there any discussion? If not, then all in favor, right hand, and the motion carries unanimously. So first up will be Ms. Moore. Okay. And while you're making your way to the podium, I'll go ahead and let you know that we're awfully glad you're here to speak to us this evening. But this is the time when you get to talk and we get to listen. We're not going to debate, and it's not going to be a question and answer session. It's your time to let us know what's on your mind. So, I suppose since you're speaking on behalf of more than just yourself, you would be allocated 5 minutes to speak. And the only thing that may interrupt your speak would be that if you delve into confidential concerns or matters related to due process regarding a specific employee or a student, those things we need to talk about in closed session. Right. So, Ms. Dowdle. Ms. Dowdle is a good shoulder pat. She's gentle. Okay. So
don't let her pat me too hard.
All right. So, Ms. Moore, the floor is yours, and you can tell us what's on your mind this evening.
All right, thank you. Dear ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Lisa Moore, and I teach 4th grade at Glenwood Elementary School. Thank you for the opportunity to bring to your attention a matter that continues to be a major issue in every single one of our classrooms from the elementary level to the high school level. And that issue is discipline, enforcement of the rules, and lack of serious consequences. I have been an educator for 23 years, and I love teaching. But I can honestly say that I have encountered more discipline issues this school year than ever before. We can sit back and blame the problem on many things and say that this is just a different time. Yes, we are in a different time, but respect, integrity, and common decency are timeless. I'm very fortunate to work for an administrator at Glenwood that supports me and the other faculty and staff and realizes the situation at hand. We have a crisis in our schools, and we can keep talking about it by saying we need to do this and we need to do that, but it's time to stop talking, stand up, enforce the rules, follow through, not be afraid of who it makes mad because you're doing the right thing, not be threatened by the comment, "I'll just call the school board on you," or "Don't do that, we don't want a lawsuit." My comment to that is simply this: call the school board, call the superintendent. As long as I'm doing my job, following the rules, and I know that there is nothing that I have done wrong or said wrong, those people will support me. Disruptive Behavior Policy Code 4315 states students are prohibited from disrupting teaching, which include failure to observe safety rules, indecent and lewd behavior, wearing provocative or obscene clothing. These things are happening on a daily basis in our schools. I had a situation with a student this year with repeated disruptions, and nothing fazed this student. He would come back to class right after his punishment and start all over again. I'm tired of giving silent lunch, which doesn't work, 1 or 2 days of ISS in the office, which doesn't work because there's not a designated person there to make sure that the student is doing what they are supposed to be doing. We have focused on positive reinforcement, the fidget bins, counseling, and nothing seems to work with our students because the students know that we are limited as to what we can do. I have family members that attend the middle school and high school, and they tell me things that are going on with nothing being said or done, to which I do not understand. Are you aware of the amount of vaping that is going on in our school system at the secondary schools? And are you aware of the bullying that is going on? Is this because teachers are afraid to do their job, or have they been deterred from taking a stand and saying enough is enough? This is my classroom and you will follow the rules while I'm an educator in this room. I have colleagues at other schools that say they do not have support from administration regarding behaviors. Some teachers are being told to change the behavior codes in the handbook from a major to a minor incident because it looks bad on the school report card. If the student is committing a major behavior, that's what it needs to be labeled as. Let it look bad on the school report before we see that student's name on the front page of the paper because they are in jail because of some things that they have done. School board members, you need to get into all of the schools on a weekly basis for more things than just the celebrations. We need to see you and we need to feel that you are supporting our teachers. Our hands are tied with what we can do right now. Are your hands tied? If so, and if not, we need to help. Something has got to be done. So McDowell County School Board, I leave you with these two questions. What do you intend to do in order to help us get control over this behavior crisis and have a better plan? And what do you intend to do to ensure us that we are completely supported and that we do have a voice as educators in this county? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next this evening is Mr. Gary Stroud. And sir, the podium's yours. I just remind you to behave yourself. And since you're speaking on behalf of a group, you have up to 5 minutes to address the board. And we cannot allow you to speak to specific staff or students, but you may speak on any other topic you wish.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I want to start by saying how much of a privilege it is to come to talk to you today. I know a lot of you personally, but something that's very important to me, and it's very important to our board. Today, we had an executive committee meeting concerning Senate Bill 692, which has now been passed and sent over to the House. It's in committee at the House at this particular time. There has been changes and amendments in the bill from when it was first written about a month ago, just after we had our legislative seminar. This came out real quickly after that. But the concern we have as a board, and I am speaking for the Board of Trustees at McDowell Tech Executive Committee, we are having a meeting this Thursday night, which this same, what I'm sharing with you, will be presented to the entire board, but it was voted on by the Executive Committee today. We're going to be sending a letter to our representatives in the House and also send a copy to our Senator, Senator Warren Daniels, Senator Dudley Green, and also Senator Johnson, who represents the Glenwood, I think Munford's Cove, her area. But our concern is the change that really affects you guys. We have a great relationship with K-12, with the school board at McDowell Tech. We're interconnected at this time with the early college and College Promise. And the Joint Education Committee is probably the best committee it is that I hear about. My people who are on that come back raving about how good it is to have good communication between the school board, between the county commissioners. Honestly, it's not that way across the state. I happen to be on the executive committee of the Board of Trustees, and it surprises them how well we work together and how well we collaborate on different things. The change in the bill that concerns us the most is the appointment of trustees. Trustees currently are a third of them are appointed by the state, currently by the governor. The other 2/3 are appointed locally, of which this board here appoints a third of them. In the new bill, you all are gone. And that really disturbs us at McDowell Tech. We feel like that it's taken the community out of community college. And it's something that we don't support. We respect our legislators, but we are going to share with them our feelings. And let me say this, this is not a done deal at this point. The train is way down the tracks, but we're hoping that people will get behind this and share their feelings. We hope that you enjoy the relationship and enjoy the ability to appoint members to the Board of Trustees, because it's very healthy for us to have diversity there that has differences of opinion. I have two board members here tonight that are here, being educated by you folks and the K-12 group. And we are going to be crafting a letter to send out to those people to let them know that that's not our desire. We prefer, and the way it's being proposed is that we have a third of it stay with the state. And honestly, we're not trying to dictate who in the state selects those people, whether it be the legislature or whether it be the governor or some kind of hybrid of that. But we feel that we here locally know what we need as far as trustees. And therefore, we want to keep 2/3 of it here in the county, and we would love to keep that involved with the Board of Education. Thank you for your time.
All right.
We can ask a question, right?
To clarify.
To clarify, yeah. Can you clarify the meeting time and if it's open to the public and a location of that meeting Thursday?
It is open to the public, and it is the Board of Trustees meeting, our regular monthly meeting. And it's this is when we're going to be sharing with the rest of the board. By the way, everyone was invited. All of our board members were invited to the executive committee meeting today. So it's nothing. It's no surprise to any board member. They were all aware of it.
That's for the public. Want to make sure.
Yeah, but it is a public meeting, just as this is a public meeting, and it's at 6 o'clock Thursday night. It is available with call-in, and it's also at the. Oh shoot, my mind just went blank. The Universal. Yes, it's in the Universal. So anyone that would like to attend is welcome to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Stroud. Okay, then. So we'll move along. All right, I will. We'll move along to unfinished business, which is item 12 on the agenda. And Mr. Oliver, would you care to address that or guide us in that?
Yes, sir. I'd be glad to. So I mentioned that we had our first monthly construction meeting 2 weeks ago, and there was an update meeting on Thursday. And the most recent update is where we are right now with the tennis court location is the retention pond down behind the softball field is in place, and it's been sown, and there's straw there to show that. Next is the head drain at the top of the hill where the roads intersect. The head drain will come down there, and I think it's going to have 3 concrete drain boxes between the top and the bottom. And then next they'll be working on the footers for the retaining wall, which is also the big retaining wall is going to be behind the middle school softball field over there behind the right field first base line. So there, if you've been past there, you've seen all the grading that's going on. It's going to be a beautiful site. It's really going to be a nice facility for our tennis players, but also for all of the high school and the middle school campuses. The next coordination meeting is on 25 May. So we'll get our next major update on May 25th, and I'll share with you what we learned on that day.
Okay.
If I can
So-
too, Mr. Inks, I want to say thank you to Mr. Oliver, the construction crew, West McDowell softball. We're having their fifth grade day where they're recognized, and it just so happens, with no lights there, they're starting at 3:30. Mr. Oliver and Wilkie and Bennett Construction were so helpful in stopping the construction just for a while so that they could actually enjoy that time. So I appreciate you doing that. Get this candy out of my mouth, I'm sorry. But I appreciate you doing that, and appreciate the construction company. Please pass that along. Those girls ended up winning the conference championship too. So
Yes, sir, we will.
So thanks a lot.
And sir, you and Mr. Carson are big guys, so I was happy to oblige. Yeah, thank you.
Carson's big. I'm a fat guy. So we're good.
Okay. So we'll move along then. If there's no further discussion or questions on the tennis court multi-purpose field project, we'll move along then to the next item, which is new business. And the first item is appointment to the McDowell, our annual appointment to the McDowell Tech Community College Board of Trustees. And we, as Mr. Stroud stated, have the task of appointing 1/3 of the members of that board. And they serve a term, and this year the term of Mr. Don Ramsey is expiring in June 30 of 23. So this evening our duty is to take nominations for a person to fulfill that term. Now Mr. Ramsey is eligible for reappointment, so we can reappoint him. And if there are other nominations, we can accept those at this meeting as well. So the floor is open for nominations for the McDowell Tech Board of Trustees.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Mr. Don Ramsey to continue in his position.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Mr. Frank makes the second? Okay. Are there any other nominations to offer this evening? If not, then I suppose that by acclamation, Mr. Ramsey will be our appointment to the McDowell Tech Board of Trustees. Is that acceptable? Okay. All right. Well, as a vote of confidence, anyhow. Well, we probably should abide by the law, shouldn't we? Okay. So we have a motion and a second for the nomination of Mr. Don Ramsey to fulfill another term on the McDowell Tech Board of Trustees. Any further discussion? None? All in favor of the motion? And we have done our duty. Okay. Okay. Couple of things that the public needs to be aware of. The superintendent search. I'd like to just let you know what's been going on over the last few weeks since the last time we were all together. The board did meet in a special called session to consider all the applicants for the position, and the board did narrow those down to a group of finalists who we will begin interviewing this week. We hope to interview some this week and some next week and see where the process takes us from there. It may be that there's one outstanding candidate that's head and shoulders above the rest that we would like to make an offer to. Or it may be that there are two or more candidates that the board might want a second interview with. So after the initial round of interviews, the board will chart its course going forward from that point. I'll also say, since we're moving into that portion that is board reports, one of the things I think that the board found most informative and enlightening were the listening sessions that we conducted with our staff, the community, as to what qualities they would like to see in a superintendent, and some critical issues that they see looming on the horizon or are already facing, and some thoughts about how we can further enhance the educational experience for students in the county. And so, to speak to the critical issues part, just as one of the folks this evening mentioned behavior and discipline issues, that came through loud and clear. And I want the staff to understand that we have heard them. And I want the public to understand that we have heard our staff and we are aware of what they face each day. And to that end, Ms. Mumo and myself, on behalf of the board, have asked Mr. Oliver to formulate a list of ideas, possibilities, options for dealing with some of this behavior and discipline issues, so that we can begin considering those as we move forward. And we hope to be able to have some discussion about those at our next work session, which will tentatively scheduled for the 22nd of this month. So I want the staff particularly to know that we have heard them, and that we're getting started. We've got a lot on our plate with superintendent search, budget, all the other issues that we normally have to deal with this time of year. But we are committed to making a difference for the better for staff and for students. So,
can I say something?
Yes, sir. You certainly might.
And I'll be very nice and respectful in saying it. And I called you this week on it, and the issue is so compelling, and we overwhelmingly heard that we have got a problem in this area. And I don't understand why we can't direct our superintendent to take X number of days, 30, 45, 60, whatever is needed, and come back to us with a recommendation that addresses the issue. I don't understand why we can't do that.
What we did.
Well,
I didn't really hear that. I didn't hear a deadline. I didn't hear a clear authorization. I didn't hear
to give us options by our next work session of what are some feasible options with the budget and with.
Right. And the work session thing, I would prefer it to be in a meeting where we can vote on it.
Well, I'm not sure we'll be ready to take action on it at our next regular meeting.
Right. We're not ready to take action now.
Right.
But I think we're ready to authorize that something be done on the topic.
That's what we did.
I didn't vote to do anything.
Oh, well, we were tasking our superintendent with giving us options. We can discuss that at a work session. Right. And then I agree with you. If we decide on something, once we all have time to talk about it, we vote on it.
We really are confusing people. What you just described is a process. It's a very simple thing to make a motion in a second to direct staff to come back with recommendations that address the discipline issue. I'm not mad or angry, but I'm frustrated.
I understand.
And others are as well.
Well, I do think we kind of need to get our heads around this a little more before we take some sort of official action. So
I say it somewhat jokingly, but Mr. Oliver's got 1,300 people that work for him. And I don't have a chief of staff or a paid person. I don't have time to become an expert on this. I think we should direct our staff to come back to us on this. And that's how I feel. And if I can't say how I feel, then I don't need to be here.
Well,
So that's enough.
you certainly entitled to
Mr.
make
Chairman,
those. Yes, sir.
I feel Mr. Abernathy's concern, and I also heard the request that you made of Mr. Oliver, and I hope with what the young teacher has expressed to us tonight that we do look at this with expediency, and I know you will do that. And I know, Mr. Oliver, you'll jump out there and do it very quickly. And I personally think we really need to move on this. And I'm just backing up what you say, Mr. Abernathy, but I know the process as well. And we know you'll jump on that, sir.
Sir. Mr. Chairman, I want to also back up what they said. This is not a new issue that we've spoken about on this board. And specifically, we asked, to look into it, the ALC, bring the ALC back. So I really would like to dive into that issue of why did it leave? Why can we not bring it back? Is that an answer for us? So specifically, I'd ask that we look into that type of process too.
Well, as I say, the chair and vice chair asked Mr. Oliver if he would have some options available for us to get our heads around by our May work session. And that's where it is right now. But I do hear all of you. We need to get a move on this. And because we have people counting on us. Any other board reports that need to be made this evening? ROTC?
I have one for Buildings and Grounds.
Okay.
Mr. Berryhill, did you get those photos? Thank you. I'm sorry. I seen them coming down 85. So this is what.
Well, don't tell all your secrets.
Oh.
We don't want to bail you out of jail.
I was riding. Dad was riding.
Okay.
So,
and that's a pun.
So this is the project that Mr. Oliver sent all of us with Ms. Starr and the Director of Exceptional Children. The playground is going to come up. She had a setback a little bit that the playground equipment could not be delivered until June, which to me, that's when the kids are out of school. And so we talked a little bit and decided, hey, let's get this turf down. Let's get the kids using it before school gets out and give them something, to enjoy this year before school's out. So there's the playground and what it's going to look like when the equipment does get here. Garrett, if you can go back to the fence one, that's what it looks like right there now. So the turf is complete. It has just been GMAX tested, super soft. I got to talk to Garvin about a little piece of siding for that building, which is a tunnel, which was neat. I didn't know that. So
sir,
I caught one of my workers hiding in there taking a break, so we got him out. Yeah, so it ended up looking really good. The turf's nice. The funds came. Ms. Starr purchased the turf and the materials, and then we donated all the labor and time and everything else, and it turned out really good. And hopefully when the playground equipment gets here, it's something else that the board has added to our school system, which is, another great project. So thank y'all for that.
Okay. Thanks. Anything else?
The only Head Start report is just we didn't have a meeting today, but continue to remember Dr. Delaney's family. Her mom has had some significant health issues, and Dr. Delaney is doing what we do best, and she's juggling being a great daughter and being a great director at Head Start. So, but we did not have a meeting today.
Okay. Anything else?
Nothing from ROTC this meeting.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll move along then to item 14, which is approval of our consent agenda. And as per our custom and policy, any item that's contained on the consent agenda may be considered separately. So are there any items that the board or a member of the board would like to have us consider separate from the packet? If not, then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda this evening?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second? Mr. Shuford makes a second to Ms. Pupo's motion. Is there any discussion? If not, then all in favor, right hand, and the motion carries unanimously. The next item of business will be to move into closed session.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, the board secretary and I have discussed the change going forward to your agenda, which I think would really be implemented on the next agenda. Future agendas will simply say that closed session will be requested, because we want to make sure that the exact reasons for each and every closed session are announced publicly. So you will have a sheet in front of you to share, which will delineate what the reasons are.
Okay.
So you will be able to name the specific reasons. And for tonight's purposes, I'll just give you the reasons and you can accept the motion.
Would you do that for us?
Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143A, that's 318.11A1, the board will go into closed session to discuss confidential personnel matters. Pursuant to General Statutes 115C, 319 through 321. The board will also go into closed session under A3, discuss matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, and under A6 to discuss initial terms of employment of a public officer.
Thank you, sir.
And someone can say so.
Ms. Mumal makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Helms.
I think it was A7.
Okay.
You sure it was A6 and not A7?
Okay, is there any discussion on the motion this evening? If not, then all in favor of moving into closed session? And the motion carries unanimously.